run through a few things. Something that people kind of assume is that we actually know your business inside out, and nobody knows it like you guys. So I'm going to go through the who, what, where, when, and why you would buy a LIMS system. I've already gone through that, so we'll skip that. So somebody will often come to us and say, look, I think we're looking at buying a LIMS, you know, and you'll come to us and we'll go, right, have you got a user requirements document together? At which point generally people tend to panic and kind of go, well, yes, we know what we want. You'll give us a very high level overview and we'll kind of go, well, we can't give you a quote on that. So a requirements document, it's explaining why you need a LIMS. It's explaining the features and the functionality that you require in your specific lab. Now, I could talk about LIMS, I could talk about business information management systems. It doesn't really matter. We need to know the details of what you want the software to work. So when should you put together a document like this? Generally before you speak to us, if at all possible. As soon as somebody starts mentioning the words, we think we need a LIMS system, you know, your current system's not working at the moment, basically before you start a project is the best time to write this. And what you should have in there, there's quite a lot here. So you need to set the expectations, how long it's going to take, the sort of money that's involved, you know, the team members, everybody should be involved in this. You know, you need to identify who this is going to help. What will it actually provide to you? What it's going to solve, and really that's when you kind of start to speak to us. You know, ask us for information on how systems work. Ask us for sort of pricing ideas, making sure that it's actually a feasible product. And then obviously you've got kind of that final stage of looking at presenting it to management, justifying the cost and things like that. But generally a user requirements document will help you justify it because you'll have built an entire case the whole way through. So who writes it? The biggest thing when I'm visiting customers at any point is that if one person in your entire organisation has written this, you're going to be in big trouble. We always say get your IT departments involved, get other departments like your management team, people that are actually going to use this system. You need them involved because they will tell you more often than not that when a system is brought in, like we will come in, we will chat to maybe somebody in management, and then they'll go, yep, this is great, the system works, it does the reports we need it to do. And then, right just before you're about to buy the system, the users will go, hang on a minute, we need it to go through the following processes so that you can output that report. And if that's not in the user requirements document, that can cause really big problems. So one of the best ways of writing the document is to have the end goal in mind when you're starting it. So what you need out of the system. So do you need to track samples? What workflows need following? How quickly things need doing? Is this going to increase productivity? The management tools? Reducing paperwork. You know, so many different places are looking for a paperless lab now. You know, and LIMS systems can help you with that. Do you need the system to assign work to certain people? Would this be helpful to you? You know, what needs date and time stamping? Does everything in the system need to do that, or just a few things need date and time stamping? You know, which reports do you need? Do you need external clients to be able to actually register samples? Do you need to be able to schedule things automatically? These are all the sorts of things that you really need to start sort of looking at when putting together one of these documents. And finally, kind of there, you've got automatic calculations. You know, would you like a system to be able to do all of the background calculations for you? So how do you gather requirements? Looking at current processes. You know, what do you want to improve? But start with what you've got. So how do you currently register them? How do you record the results? What reports do you need out of it? If you've got a LIMS system already, what causes you problems? Review the weak links. present the features that you want in your new LIM system. And again, you've got down the bottom there, paper form. So do you want some reports have to still be in paper form, or is everything going to be electronic now? So just some points to kind of help you. It doesn't matter who you're buying a LIM system from. Some of these points will really come to any of us. So, you need to be brief. Saying to us we want a flexible LIM system, everybody's like, yes, great, we've got one of those, we can give you that. Avoid using like internal acronyms and things like that, because we won't understand. So, list the features and functionalities required to obtain benefits that you've identified. So sample information you record and track on each and every sample, but also record the anomalies. There are sometimes you're going to have samples in and you're going to need to know certain information about that. If you've told us about that now, we can say yes, that's going to be possible in the future. Do you want your LIM system to generate a unique sample identifier? Is that going to be just an alphanumeric code? Is it going to have a completely different combination? So we need to know that kind of information. Come back to the reports again. Are they client specific? Are they just management reports? What SOPs do you need in there? Do you need to attach files to samples? Different forms. What sort of bench sheets do you need? Daily lab walkthroughs? This kind of thing. What does the system need to output for you to do your job? And if you have any examples of reports, it really helps when buying a LIM system, because as I've mentioned before, your end result is those reports. If you can provide us with that, we can look at how to build the LIMs around that to produce that report. I quite like this little slide here with the do's and don'ts of what to say to us. So we want to integrate with inventory. Well, that could mean a whole list of different things. So a user should be able to select appropriate reagent and associate with analysis. Makes a lot more sense. You need to dig down just a little bit deeper when producing these requirements documents. We want to generate work lists. Actually, what we really want to hear is what's the batch name, test name, sample number, due date. Just that little bit more information will mean that we can provide a much better spec for your system. And we've got, I want to import data from our current LIM system. Okay, what is the system? What information is it holding? If you were to send over a tender document with just that sentence, that's great, but nearly all of us will have to turn around and say, okay, what information are you pulling across? It might be the case that you don't need all that information that's in your current LIM system. Can we actually just use our system to interrogate that data further down the line? The other sort of key elements to include is the number of users. Are you going to have a hierarchy of people with different access rights? For instance, you might have a super user, some admin users. You're then going to have people that are inputting data. Then you're going to have a level of people that you just want them to see the reports at the end of it. Focus on the needs of the software. So you've got hardware, support, things like that. That's going to come afterwards. They're all things that are going to be covered in like a kick-off meeting when you start and you're actually installing it. Another important point is to keep in mind the future. No LIM system stays still. It's always going to change. So 5-10 years time. Now, that seems like a really long time period because I know a lot of the people I work with, their LIM system needs to develop in a year to 3 years time. It's going to look very different to what it does the day I install it because things change in businesses. So, the ability to modify and expand systems over time. This is really just covering that point again, but a successful LIM system will change. Tests will change. Tests need to be added. Reports are going to need to be added. Having a requirements document is great, but it is just a snapshot in time as to when you actually purchase that LIM system. It's not going to be necessarily relevant in 12, 18 months' time because things will have changed. So we've got a few documents that are just sort of relevant for you. I'm also on stand 22, but we've actually written a full how to buy a LIMS guide. We've put together other documentation on user requirements as well. So if you want any further information, please come and see me. Thank you.